Hello, everybody. This is episode 5, and I know it's been a long time since I recorded episode 4. Since I was in Cape Verde, it's been months. But yeah, what could I say? I got in my head. I got really in my head about what I was doing, about AI, about the time I was spending on the computer, about blah, 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 plus the problems when you're traveling and having no connection. And then, anyway, long story short, I recently went to Cuba. Um, and as I've gone on, I really feel like my guidance has been to prepare me for the next place, for the next place, for the next place. And this one, wow. I met lots of incredible artists. We're talking painters, we're talking musicians, and they really aren't scared to express themselves. But the problem is they don't have the ability to express themselves in our way because they don't have the internet. So what is normal for us to get on and do a video of poetry, of a song, of whatever? They can't do. They physically don't have the internet to do so. So I think, getting in my head and thinking that, what am I doing? And then I suddenly realized, I have the ability to share my story, and I'm going to continue to do it. So day 5 was date day. I'm going to keep this one quite quick though, because the message is pretty strong within it. As you know, I said no mobile phones, stay present. And he agreed, so that was awesome. So off we go. He took me to the park. We got a coffee, some breakfast, and then we carried on walking to this park. And I got in there, and I felt really uneasy. Like it was almost like this rock was just sitting on my heart, and I was getting this like tickle in my throat, and I didn't understand why, other than the fact there was heaps of energy around and screaming children because we were in a park. That's just life. And so I sat on the grass, and I wanted to ground. So obviously no shoes on. And I just put my feet on the ground, and within seconds, this guy runs over and says, "No, no, no, es posible." And what do you mean? So he said, "Not possible. Do not stand. Do not sit on the grass." I'm like, okay, this is a park. Interesting. He's like, "On the bench or the floor." Trying to explain that I was trying to ground and I was very sorry, I didn't understand. And anyway, he didn't speak. He was just getting very angry with me. So whatever. Pick your battles. This was not a place for me to fight for Mother Earth and the grass that I could stand on. Although it turned out that it was an interesting place to be, because we started to walk. There were some wild animals hopping around, and it was pretty cute. And then, of course, you see the people trying to feed them the human food. And these poor park rangers are just running around constantly being the police in this place, and when you see them, you see some that really care about the animals, and you see some that are just there for a job. And that's the same wherever you go. Like, I've seen park rangers pick up frogs because the tourists don't want to see them, with tongs, and basically thrown. And I've seen people who genuinely care about the snakes and the lizards and the things that they are being asked to remove because the people in the park don't want them there. That's another story. But anyway, so this guy comes over, tells me to move. I watch all these little animals coming around. I see all these park rangers like running around in the blistering heat. Just no wonder this energy was like quite stifling when I walked in there. There's this sense of anxiety, basically. As we're walking around, and then I stopped him and I said, what's this path here? And he's like, "Oh, we'll get there eventually." I said, "No, I think I need to go now." And bless him, so he understood, and he trusted my intuition, which I was really grateful for. Anyway, we walked down this road, this street within the park, and I stopped and I said to him, "I'm about to see something that I don't want to see, but I know I have to." I can feel it. I could feel this energy. My head, my crown was exploding, my heart was exploding, my throat was being closed. It was like this force of Pachamama just boom within me. And I walk a little bit further, and I see the starting of this cage. And I see everybody screaming and taking pictures, and I'm like, my heart is pounding right now. What am I about to see? And then I look and I see the sign, and it says, the world famous condor in the smallest cage in a park in Buenos Aires. Didn't say that part, that was my ad lib. But yeah, now I've seen condors in the wild, and they are guardians from the Indians and the Patagonians. They're incredibly, incredibly significant from a spirituality side. And here is this incredible bird, incredible, huge bird, in a cage, but it couldn't fly if it wanted to. And this bird was screaming in pain. And I had, my throat's going now. I had to ask Alejandro, was like, why? Why is this bird here? Why can they not release it to the wild? Like, why? I mean, obviously I already knew it was a tourist attraction. But he asked, bless him, he went to ask the ranger and asked. And the story says that the bird was injured and then it came to be in captivity. So why did it not get re-released? And they said, because it wouldn't survive. And it got me thinking, what makes us think that Mother Nature will not look after her own? What makes us think that if that bird was released, it wouldn't have a chance? You see, this wasn't a bird in captivity from birth. This was a bird that was taken from the wild, found and brought, and then made tame, but it wasn't tame either. And so, yeah, it got me questioning a lot around the whole conversation of we can't release them into the wild. Anyway, I said to Alec, I was like, I have to go. I have to go. Get me out of here. I've seen what I need to see. I've seen what I came to see. And as I was walking, I found this feather. I picked it up, I put it in my hair, and I just said a prayer for this bird. And then as we carried on, there was camels in very small places, and my feet just got quicker and quicker and quicker, and it was nothing to do with the hot ground I was walking on. And I got out of the park and I just cried. And just did I know that this was going to be a bit of a journey for me, as seeing these bloody metropolitan zoos, which really, they have no other purpose. There's no education there. The signs are bullshit. Most of the rangers don't want to be there. There's nothing other than money that keeps these animals there. Anyway, we left, and he gave me a big hug, and he said, are you okay? I said, I saw what I had to see. I can't be shutting away this stuff. It's painful, but, you know, I accept that. And I said, but I do need to ground, and I need to find grass. And so we did. We walked across a park, and this park was different. It was fully open, and it was beautiful. We had these, you know, stereotypical like paddle boats on the river, on the lake, which was cool. And there was kids playing football everywhere, and families listening to music, spending time together, and it was really lovely energy. And we sat down, and he took his shoes and socks off as well, and he wanted to ask me about grounding, and he told me it was something he used to do a lot when he was younger, and he, you know, just stopped doing it. And he said he thought that he, you know, had some spiritual beliefs that he was questioning, and a lot of things going on in his life right now. And of course, I've known my journey is to awaken the dragons and to speak to the 144, and, you know, many that I meet are completely confused about their conflict within them. You know, they're doing a job they don't want to do, knowing full well their heart is somewhere else, and that could be even in the country they're in. Now, he just left his country to move to Argentina like a week before, and interestingly, the way that, you know, what is meant for us never passes us by, he just stayed in the hostel that I'd just moved into. So we knew that this was a divine meeting, and obviously Grandma had brought us back together to have this conversation. And, you know, I knew what she was saying to me. I knew how she was guiding the conversation. I knew that it was very much that he'd steered from his soul path, from his gifts, because he was more interested in the the money side of things, and he'd had some things happen in the other side that had made him kind of shut the other stuff away. And so, yeah, I got him talking. I got him talking about things. Now, the thing when you do the healing work, right? Sometimes it's a very direct message. It depends on the culture. I have dealt with Russian, Ukraine grandmas. I've dealt with Norwegian grandmas. I've dealt with English. I've dealt with Latin American now. And I have to tell you, when the grandmas, when the abuelas, when the great grandmothers come through, it is like a force. It is like they take you and just possess this. And sometimes it can be very direct, and you just have to be truthful, right? Because they're not listening. And this particular thing he wasn't listening to, but I'd kind of had the conversation with Grandma before we started talking that this had to be done slowly. Even though I knew that she was happy that we'd met and I could actually deliver this message. I could feel that. So we're sat there, we're talking, and I just got him talking about his cooking and his chef work and his grandma, and bringing him back to those moments where they cooked together and reminding him of how special it was, and seeing that spark in his eye, and getting him to talk about food was just amazing, because his job he was doing did not light him up, and you could tell there was nothing there other than money. But then you got him talking about food and comedy, like food and comedy, and to me they go together, right? Like, how many people go to a comedy show and they have places where you can order food, or maybe a food truck outside of a comedy show? Like, the two for me can easily go together. And interestingly, the night we met, we were outside a bar, and next door was a comedy club, and then next door to that was a vacant shop that apparently used to be a restaurant. So basically, I'm sure you can appreciate where I'm going with this. We were just talking, and now I'm going to move forward. I love to see that he's posting a lot more of his food and he's doing what he's doing. Anyway, once we started talking about food, he's like, I want to cook for you. I said, perfect. I love to eat and I love food. It's my language. So yeah, we stayed in the park for a bit longer. We talked a bit more about connecting with Grandma and how we can do it. And you know, she was all over us, like there was goosebumps, and he could feel it, and he was getting emotional, and it was really fucking beautiful to see, to be honest, that he wasn't scared of what he was feeling. He was actually integrating it in, and he was allowing this emotion, because she'd finally managed to connect with him, like this emotion that was coming through, that he's like really confused about. He's comes from a machismo place. Like, he's a beautiful masculine energy, and here he is just like opening his heart in the park. It was really special. Anyway, we walked home, and he's like, oh, I just need to disappear upstairs. And of course he comes back, and I'm like, how's the mobile? And he looked at me and said, how did you know? I said, well, first of all, I have the ability to remote view certain things, and second of all, you forget who's with me right now. And he looked at me, he said, I'm sorry, I can't lie to you, I was on my mobile. I'm like, dude, I know, but it's all good. Thank you for holding off for as long as you have, and thank you for not taking it with you. I think that was the big one. I've done this again, and people have gone, oh, but I have to have it just in case of this. It's like, the agreement was no mobiles, and putting it in your pocket on silent. It's the frequency, it's still with you, right? It's still this temptation. So yes, we went up the hill, he did what he had to do, and then we went out for dinner. And we sat there, and it was a Caribbean restaurant, Caribbean food here in Buenos Aires. And yeah, I wasn't that impressed, which was good, because we opened up that conversation again. Okay, well, how would you make this better? You know, in your opinion, what is this missing? And it was just really cool to see these lights just switching on as he started talking about his love of food, and what he would do better and what he would do differently. Anyway, next day he cooked me some stuff from the heart. I had ceviche, which was stunning. I was out doing tour things with the beautiful Noelia, which was the jazz singer I spoke about. And we ended up in a place having a glass of wine in Evita's place, where she housed a lot of the women who were very much in struggle town in Buenos Aires. So that was beautifully powerful. But yeah, so Alejandro cooked me this ceviche. He showed me these pickles that he'd been making. And again, that was like, well, why aren't you doing anything with this anymore? And he showed me what he had done in the past. And again, goosebumps all over. So I was like, well, I think this is your message now. It's time to believe that this is possible. And maybe you need to be here. Maybe you need to bring your flavor, your culture here to Argentina, to Buenos Aires, because maybe there's an opening here to actually cross-pollinate the two in the Latin America. Maybe it's a time of a fusion type thing. So yeah, anyway, super pleased to say he's doing incredible things with his food now, and they look amazing, and I love watching his content and what he's cooking. And yeah, as I said, when the grandmas pull us in, it's a very strong message, and 9 times out of 10 I'm dealing with that. Usually with the guys it's a grandfather or father, and with the girls it's the opposite, and sometimes it's both. But it's always the soul group. It's always the soul group of the people who are there to guide them. So yeah, watch this space. I really, really hope he does what he wants to do, and who knows, if I ever find out he goes and rents that place next to that pub, then man, I'm just going to be so happy for him, whatever he does. And that's the thing with this journey, when you find that light, when you find the ability to switch that light back on inside of someone who has lost their faith in their gift and what they do because it's not appreciated, but then you ask them, well, do you appreciate it? Like, how do you feel about what you're doing now versus what you were doing before? And then you unpack the reasons as to why they think they can't do it again. Watch them come back swinging even stronger. Yeah, so I'm very excited to watch this. Anyway, I left Buenos Aires after that, and I was, the next day, I met Juan, and just a quick word about Juan, is incredibly spiritually connected. He does a lot of meditation similar to me. He does a lot of the ascended masters talking through us when we're in meditation, through our hands, through our voice. And long story short, I nearly missed my plane because he showed me a video of him doing this, and our eyes connected, and it was like, holy shit, like I've not met anyone else who channels this kind of stuff the way that he did. And the videos we shared with each other were very similar. And quick one on that, I knew that a black Labrador was going to be very significant. And when I finally got into the aeroplane, I checked out because he'd added me on socials, and I checked out, and there he was with his beautiful black Labrador. So yeah, it was a very small but significant chapter and he sent me a message saying that my masters told me that I would meet someone who would allow me to help open my heart. And he doesn't speak much good English apparently, nor do I. He doesn't speak English very well, so the chapter that we had together was on Google Translate, but it was also soul. And sometimes you don't need to speak a language, you just need to channel through what I had and him. And one of the reasons why we met in this lifetime was because of his gift to remove cording. And I had some serious cording attached to me from fear, like serious maternal cording about fear. The night we did a meditation together, because we knew that it would be divinely timed, the night that we did it, he was pretty much nearly be doing an exorcism on me on my balcony in my hotel. And man, the energy we exchanged in that way of me clearing it and him pulling it from me, like he said to me, there was some serious shit going on there. Like, you had more than cording in there. You had some really horrible things holding you back from your purpose. And I said, yeah, I felt it. So it was almost like Juan and I met through Alejandro. He was my driver to the airport because he just moved Alejandro. The 3 of us together, do you know what I mean? Like, this is the beautiful soul path. And then Alejandro removed all this maternal cording that really stopped me from stepping into this incredible journey, and afterwards everything changed for me once he'd done that. So yeah, I'm going to leave it on that note, and I'm going to probably combine Salta, Humamaca, and a few other things all in one, because amazing things happened, but it was very much a short trip before I was heading to the most amazing place of Alshata in Patagonia. So yeah, hope you enjoy. And once again, if you are guided to someone, if you're in a cafe on your own, and this is the thing, many of us don't just go and sit out on our own. But when we do, if we look up and we see someone and we can't stop looking at them, there's usually a reason why. Just listen to what that might be. And to anyone who is connected to the spirit world, don't be scared to go and maybe see what that connection is. Because you don't know. You sitting next to them, allowing them to talk, allowing them to open up to you, can make a huge difference in their life. I've been doing this now for 9 months, and my ability is just getting stronger and stronger. And the messages that are coming through, as I said, it's been a gradual progression to the point where every country teaches me more about a gift, a spiritual connection, the power of these messages that are coming in, and to see the change in these people's lives. Like, that's the most incredible thing, is to see people, when I say God send me when they're ready, when they really are, that light goes on and changes happen so quickly because they start to believe in the possibilities of themselves. And that is incredible, and I love it. And I look forward to every single day where I know I'm going to meet someone and I'll hold my hand out and I'll say, hey, I think we've been guided to each other for a reason. What's going on? Like, what's going on in your life? Let's talk, if you want to, if you're ready. And my Spanish is getting better. You know, there's something I will say to the school system. Don't just teach people to ask how your day is, what food is. Teach them to talk about things that aren't in the school books. Because when you're having conversations like spirituality, you can learn your basic words and it gets stronger and stronger as you start to get more and more confident. But yeah, this is not how is your day, how old are you, where do you live. This is pushing me out of my comfort zone in so many ways. And I've done tarot readings now for some people here who don't speak English. And I've realized one thing. I don't think I can do them with Google Translate, because what I put in there and what Google Translate spits out could be very different. So I am trying to manifest someone now who is also in the spiritual way, who understands the tarot. And if someone asks me here to do tarot readings, I can point them in their direction. And I think I may have found her. But we're spending some time together and I'm going to suss that out. And she's just about to watch my channel, so she'll know who I'm talking about. Anyway, over and out. Episode 5 completo. Yeah, I'll speak to you soon.